Okay, sige. So for this term, we are going to kickstart on Microsoft Excel. Okay, so I know you have been familiar with Microsoft Excel. You have been using Microsoft Excel for quite some time. Most of you, I guess. So you have that in your probably in your senior high school, or in your K to 12, I guess. It's downgraded there in grade 11 and grade 12. So I will not be, it's not difficult for me to let you understand now what's Microsoft Excel. So yeah, we can use any application. So we in our in our prelim topics, we have discuss about the computer fundamentals, and for other computer fundamentals and other topics on computer, I will leave it to your computer era. And specifically in the prelim topics, we have actually discussed specifically um, database fundamentals, no, which we actually did. It's database scripting, and then Microsoft Word. Okay, although I haven't discussed Microsoft Word in during our synchronous session, because I believe so you have a background on Microsoft Word. For today, we are going to start with spreadsheets. Okay, so when we talk about spreadsheets, these are actually similar to Ledger, which are originally which are actually originally developed for accounting students, no, or for accounting formulas or doing some calculations. So when you talk about spreadsheet, it could either be there are actually open office spreadsheets. There is also under Microsoft Word spreadsheet, which is Microsoft Excel. So the latter is the one that we are gonna be using, which is Microsoft Excel. All right, so that's why I get data from you. So I actually noted it could be at least bahalag anything, pwede siya dili factual, at least you're able to fill in that form. All right, because we're gonna be needing those. Okay, so I want you guys to open, if you are using if you're in front of your laptop today or your PC, you can actually repeat after me. Okay, and I'm going to send you the data. Okay, just wait for a while. So this is the data that you have that I have. I mean, this is the form that I have let you, fill out or fill in. So I'm gonna be downloading this one as a Microsoft Excel, and then I'll be also sending this one to our GC. So that you will have also a file for this. I don't know if let me try if I'll be able to share this one right here. So it seems like I can't. So I might do it here. Okay. So just wait for a while. So it's there already in our GC. So if you want to open it, you can actually open that one. So this time we're gonna be opening Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet that is actually a and it's not an open source. When we talk about open source application, or open source applications, these are applications that can be used for free without buying or purchasing a key, or without purchasing a product key. So since Microsoft Excel is under Microsoft Corporation, it is a proprietary software. Therefore, we'll need to purchase a will need to subscribe, or will need to purchase a product key. However, if your intention is for education purposes only, then Microsoft will not actually go further. No, like it will not chase you unless you are going to make money out of it. So probably if Microsoft will be able to track you, so probably ihack ang gukuron. Okay? So for this, once you open Microsoft Excel, you have here a, if you're familiar with Ledger again, it's ledger is actually a term for accountancy students, which is actually used for which is and it's an intersection of rows and columns which are used for which are used for doing some calculations in their like in their the basis for calculating balance sheet and income statements. All right, so this time we have actually a lot of templates available. So every year in every year Microsoft corporation, what they call this one, how do I say this, mm, something like upgrading, no, Microsoft Excel or Office application. So every year na ay new applications or na ay new versions of this application. So right here, it's for in this ano no, in the event na you are actually using Office 365. So you can, there's also equivalent for Microsoft Excel there. So this time, again, you will be shown with template, and you can actually choose any of the templates here. So, but this time we're gonna be doing a blank workbook. Excuse me. Okay, so to do that, you just have to double click it, or you can actually click it there. So right here, what you have here is, of course, now the interface of your Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So as you can see here, this is not similar to, you will only see here an intersections of rows and columns. When we talk about rows, anything that is, it's anything that is, it's represented by a horizontal. So, and this is the row. Yan. So this is the horizontal equivalent of our Excel or spreadsheet, and this is our column vertical equivalent of our Excel. So yeah, if you want to navigate the last column, you can actually go to I don't know if in Windows it's control right arrow. In my case, it's command right arrow. So I'll be able to, so for me to get into the, so that I'll be able to calibrate it in the last column. Okay, so that's control, or I don't know if it's control in Windows. I just forgot. But in my case, it's command left and right. So the same thing with if you're going to navigate to sa bottom part. I mean vertically. Now if you want to navigate vertically, you will see here the last row, which is actually this is how much, one, that's 1,048,576. Okay. All right, so by the way, this is created through multiple development interface. So in Microsoft Excel, you cannot, the sheet is or cannot be taken out from this, no. So because it's under multiple development interface, that's Microsoft. If you're familiar with Visual Basic Programming, MDI is actually used in as a parent-child relationships. Okay, so this one is actually a child relationship, child, and then the parent is actually this window here, this one. So let's now navigate each one of this. So as you can see, you have here the excuse me. As you can see, you have here the this green part. Now, this is in the new version of Excel. These are actually called ribbons or ribbon. So you will see here the tab or the menus. So before it was called as menu, this time it's called actually a ribbon tab, or it's simply a tab. No, so in each tab, you will see different what they call this one, different icons where you can actually each icon has, it's going to perform any actions, okay, or any action rather. So you have here the quick access toolbar. So in the quick access toolbar, you might have different views there in Microsoft Word or in Windows because you don't have something like this one, no? So kasi lahi siya sa ako. In my case, like this one. Okay, in your case, you might have only one window there, but in Mac OS version that we have here, a separate parang it's a tab. This is actually the behavior of Mac operating systems. But what I would like you to focus on is, or this actually menu or tabs. Okay, so I'm sure you're familiar with that. Let's go over that one by one later on. So okay, so to start with, so by the way, this is our vertical scroll bar, this is our horizontal scroll bar, and then we have here the sheets. So if you want to create another sheets, just like Microsoft Word, if you want to, create another page, you just have to press enter, right? But in Microsoft Excel, it's going to be represented with sheets. So up to how much sheets you can create. So up to as many as you can actually. Okay, so there are also your views here. You have your normal view, the page break view, and page layout view, which is actually equivalent here. So this time, let's have discuss the basic concepts in Microsoft Excel. So in Microsoft Excel, there are actually three types of data types. Okay, so data types. When we talk about data types, you have already encountered it in our SQL scripting. Now, when we discuss about the basic SQL scripting, you have encountered a types there or certain data types. This will tell the user. Now, this will tell the user to as to what data type we are going to enter or input. So in Microsoft Excel, it's the same thing, only that there are only three types of data. So we have first is we have the constant or text na lang. The text data, and then we have the constant, and then you have of course, the numeric formula rather. So these are the types of data that you will be working on with Microsoft Excel. So for the text, of course, obviously, these are anything except for numerical value. So these are example, we have data types. This is considered as a text, okay? Or in programming, that's considered as a string. It's a combination of a combination or a series of characters. Okay, so and it's very important for you to know these concepts. Okay, any characters except for a numerical value that's considered as a text. Okay, another one is constant. These are values like your numbers. So when you write a number, so like this, these are considered as constant values. Okay, they are fixed values. So kaya lang in programming, when you talk about constant values, they cannot be changed. Okay, they cannot be changed in the duration or in the cycle of program in the cycle of your code or of your in your during the process of uh, compiling your program. So it will not change from time to time. So in Microsoft Excel, you can actually change it anytime you want. So just for the concept about constant, and when you talk about constant or numerical value now, so again, there's this difference between constant and numerical value. When you talk about constant, kasi it's like fixed and it cannot be changed from time to time, like pi is considered to be as a constant value of 3.14, and it cannot be changed. It cannot change its value. Okay, so, but here in Microsoft Excel, numbers are considered as constant value. All right, of course, the formula is any mathematical calculations that you do when you want to perform a certain mathematical calculations, like you use arithmetic operations or you do a logical statements, you can actually use this type of data formula. So again, there are three types of data. You have text, constant, and formula. All right, so that's it. Now you have here the columns A, B, C, D up to I have shown you earlier. It's XFFD, I guess, XFD. And then you have here the rows. No? So vertical. Yeah. So it's similar to database. Okay, so only that in database the data are actually logically related with each other. So when we talk about logically related with each other, is it means that one data or one datum is actually related, or a single record is actually related to another table. And when you talk about spreadsheet or Microsoft Excel, it's only giving us a flat files. Okay, so flat files means it's just a list of data. So it's not going to create a referential integrity. So when you talk about the referential integrity, you any changes you do in a certain table will affect the other tables that are logically connected to it. So in Microsoft Excel, we can do that, but it's not actually, they don't have that strong relationship. No, they don't have there is only weak relationship. That's why it's called flat files. Okay, so let's start with um, performing some of the basic operations. Of course, we have arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I know you're familiar with that. So let's say we have here the text or the label. So we have num1 and then we have num2. And then this is the, like for an instance, we are going to perform arithmetic. Again, for this, you can follow. Okay. So let's have any numbers here. So, so the values are constant. So we call it as a data type constant, constant data type. So right here, you will see the number per column. By the way, we this is the what we called, and this is what we call this one. What do we call this one? This is a cell, no? So it's the cell is the intersection of rows and column. So we have for the others who are not familiar with that, by the way, every time we select a specific rather cell, it is actually going to have the cell view here, it's actually going to change every time you shift or navigate from cell to cell. So you will see there the cell directly. No? So real time. Okay. So yeah, we can format this if you want. You can actually create borders. We can actually make it center. So if we are going to perform arithmetic operators, you just have to select. Okay. So this one is now so you have here we have used three types of data types. So we have what they call this one, we have a label or a text, and then we have constant values, 2, 4, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So in this cell, you want to particularly what they call this one, display the sum. Let's say the sum of 2 and 4. So you'll just have to select a cell. So you can actually select a cell by clicking a particular cell or by typing it. So it depends on your preference. It's either you want to select, or you if you want to type. So just make sure you type the right what they call this one, the you type the right cell. So for an instance, we have A. So 2 is the intersection between column A and row 2. That's actually A 2, right? So don't you worry, because it will reflect on, or by giving you a a cell that is parang ano niya as the cell is that this it's going to be highlighted. The cell that is going to be chosen or selected is going to be highlighted. So as you can see, and it's also color coding. So if you want to perform arithmetic operators for column A with row 2 and column B with row 2, you just have to do this one. All right. So yeah, no, this actually displays color coding. So dili ta mawala. Okay. Yeah. So there, no. And then you can actually do another, let's say, click by clicking instead of typing it, and you can actually do autofill or auto sum, something like this one. All you just need to do is when you select this, there's a small portion of a clickable icon or a clickable part of your cell, which is like this. Once it is selected, okay, so when you click that one, you can actually double click this one. When you click a particular cell, by the way, you can actually double click this one, or you can simply drag this by with using your mouse, I guess. Who is using mouse there? Kasi nagagamit og mouse para maano sa uban. Sa mouse, kasi sa ano sa yes, yes, yes. Kasi nagagamit og mouse. If you want to autofill, perform autofill for this one. Yes, Jeffrey, how do you do that? I mean, pwede ra niyo siya pwede ra niyo ni siya like double click, no? Yan. Or
Yes, sir.
pwede ra po ninyo siya autofill. So this is actually autofill. You have there the autofill or like fill series, no? So makita nimo siya dira. So that it's going to perform but again, when you want to perform, I mean when you perform auto series, it could be applied to if you want to like create numbers, di ba po, like mag-create kag numbers, sorry. Mag-create kag numbers, auto-fill nimo siya, control di ay sorry. Kasi lahi ang ato ang ano yan, fill series, it will generate a sorted numbers for you, no, di ba? So the same thing with what you can do if you are going to perform arithmetic operations. However, okay, however, this would only uh, like if you want to perform autofill or fill series like kani siya, auto sum, this one right here. Asa na to? Where's autofill? Anyway, if you want to perform, it will only perform unsa to imong first na gi-calculate, then all the rest will also be calculated in the same manner. So meaning you cannot perform any like combination. It depends, no? Like for instance, if you want to subtract this one or subtract these values, so of course you will need to change. If mag-autofill ka, then since ang basis niya is ang na-register niya, by the way, this is an artificial intelligence of Microsoft Excel, right? So meaning the computer already think of possibility that you want to perform arithmetic operation I mean addition operator by then. So that's why when you do autofill series or fill series, automatically i-perform to niya ang sa to perform here. So that's actually an artificial intelligence. So of course, if you want to perform any other arithmetic operation, right, you just have to change the arithmetic there. Okay. So yeah, or if you want, you can actually perform it. Right. By the way, another thing is that when you do like plus, so there are instances like for an instance na na instances that I have observed in Excel as I mean this is similar to when you have a background in programming. Anything that starts with single quotation is considered as a character. Okay, so like for an instance, you want to perform equal. Equal in Microsoft Excel uh, pertains to you want the user is going to write a formula. So if you want the equal to be as a data, or as a type that is a label or a text, you'll have to put a single quotation before it. Okay? So like for an instance, kasi it's impossible for you to do like 9 instances ng mga versions sa Excel. It's uh, it's not going to read it as an equal sign. So you'll need to convert it into a character first. So like what I did right here, no? So 9 instances na it will not accept that value. Okay? All right. So that's for basic arithmetic operations. So again, you can get the sum for all of this one. Pwede nimo siya i-auto sum like this one, di ba? So you can get that's now a function. So let's talk about function later on. But this time, let's have so we have arithmetic operators, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I'm sure na familiar ta na. So let's have, so this one is arithmetic. And you can perform as any arithmetic operations for every column. Yeah, so by the way, there is this what we called, I'm gonna show you what, like for an instance, if you want to perform 2, 4 in a different, like in a different, what they call this one, in a different arithmetic operators not, uh, by only, syempre kung mag-ano mangunta with this one, if you're going to do autofill series, like for an instance, you want to perform 2 plus 4, something like this one, no? So, sorry, 2 plus this one. And then, there, if you want na dili mag-move ang A, so you just have to put a dollar sign before or in between column A and row 2. So it will not move. So meaning it's a static value. So the value that is going to be added or subtracted or divided will always be 2. Okay, for all the rest of the numbers in column B. Okay, before I forgot the I. So when you try to do auto series here, if as you can see, notice that in our formula, you will see there that the A or the value in our column A2, I mean the value that is added for the all of the numbers in the B column is going to be static. So all of it is added to the value of the first row of column A. Okay, so that's static value. Okay, so you can use this formula or you can use this static value thing when you want to use a constant value that is, I mean, that is a static value if you want the value of this one to be always static all the time. So if ever you will be, if padulong ka dire horizontally, so it's still going, if you try to observe, the only thing that is going to change is the column, but not the two. So meaning, if you want the A, this one, okay, once you navigate to this one to like towards horizontal value, then you'll need to put a dollar sign beside your B. So, I mean, dili ta magsugod sa dire. So, let's say for an instance earlier, di ba kani? Wait ha. Okay. Okay. So, we have here a $2. So, it's expected that the 2 will be static. Okay? But whenever you navigate towards horizontal or towards the direction horizontally, so when you try to observe, every the value of the column is going to change now. So dynamically. Yan. So parang relatively, it is changing whenever you navigate towards horizontally based on the column. But if you want na the value is not going to change, both the column and the row, you just have to write a dollar sign beside each of the row and column. So for this particular matter, if you are going to shift, so this would have always a static value of a dollar sign 2. So meaning to say, when you click on it, it's always going to be 2, not other things, not other value or not other data. Okay, so that's for arithmetic operations. Now let's discuss about logical operators. So logical operators in Excel is the same thing with programming. So we have and, or, and not. So before the idea, relational sata. So relational operators, then followed by logical operators. Okay, so logical na lang, di na ito tag-operator. Basta relational and logical. So if you try to observe the katong ganina, when we talk about para ma-consider siya as a text or a data entry, you will have to have a single quotation before the word. Okay, so that you can you can instruct the Excel to explicitly declare a text or a string value or simply a label value. Okay, so what are the relational operators? We have less than, greater than, equals, not equal, less than or equal, greater than or equal, and I'm sure you're also familiar with that. So we have less than, greater than, less than or equal, greater than or equal, not equal, and you have equal. Okay, sorry. Oops. This is what I told you. So, dapat putangin mo siya as equal. Hanganin mo siya og single quotation. Okay. So, this time, we're going to perform the relational operator for each of the values here. So, let's say for an instance, we have 2. Okay. Wait. 2 less than the value of 4. Yan. So, it will give you a logical statement which is true or false, either true or false. So since 2 is less than 4, it gives you true. And then if we do auto series or autofill for this one, you'll have all of your columns, all of your data in the column A are all less than with your column B. So because we use less than. Okay? So, yeah. So later on, if we want to perform like greater than for this one, so it's going to be false because 4 is not less than 5. So if you want to perform not equal, right here, so not equal. So meaning 2 and 5 are not equal. So let's say for an instance 19 and 19, and you want to perform less than B 19 is less than 19, of course that's still true, but if you put something there like equal, so that's this one could be now greater than less than or equal, so this is greater than or equal, by the way, so greater than or equal ato siya. So it will give us true. So pag wala siya something like that, it will false, meaning either or greater than, or either it is either equal or greater than. So that's for greater than or equal. Okay, do you have any questions so far before we proceed with functions? Wala pa? So dali raman, di ba? Okay, for logical operators, you have the AND operator. So by the way, logical operator has truth table. We have true, true, the entire expression is true. So when you use logical operator, you have already two expressions. So when you use relational operator, you only have one expression. If you want to use two expressions in your formula, you'll be using logical operators. And actually, you don't have to be familiar with the truth table of and. Okay, truth table of and. You just have to have a common sense. Parang common sense lang yun siya. And, no? So meaning both expressions must be true or both expression must be evaluated to true. Okay, so true, true, it means the result will be true. Okay, if there is false of the expression, then the entire expression will be false. Okay, so if the expression is again the same thing, regardless if the first expression is false and then the second expression is true, the entire condition or expression will be, sorry, will be evaluated as false. And of course, obviously, if all are false, then everything is false. So that's the truth table for AND operator. So that's it's like asking someone to marry you, okay? And then if you have house and lot, she is going to marry you, something like that, no? Like I'm gonna marry you if you have house and lot. So if both are present, if both are yeah, if both are present, no, parang the absence of one cannot be true when you talk about AND operator. So if both what they call this one are present rather, so true and true, you have house and lot, then it is true that someone or he or she is going to marry you. But if you don't have any of it, of course that's false, meaning you don't have house and you don't have the lot, so it's all going to be false. But if you have only like house but you don't have the lot, so how is it possible? Floating house. Okay, if it's like that, then it's still false. Okay, the same thing with you don't have the house but you have the lot, it's still going to be false. So how do we perform logical expressions in Excel? You just have to use the AND function, and then you have there like two logical expressions. You can have three, you can have four, it depends to you. So logical means it's something that is using relational operator. So let's say for an instance you have two. So you have B1 is, let's say, less than 10, okay, comma, B2 is greater than 10. So if you want to, read this one, this is going to be your first expression. So A2 is less than 10, which is it actually pertains to 2. So is it 2 less than to 10? That's true. Okay? So that's actually true. And then is B2, which is the second expression, is greater than 10. That is actually false because 4 is actually less than 10. So therefore, it will give us false. The truth table for this one is this one. True, false. That's why the result is false. Do you follow?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. So the same thing, no? Now, what if you have a lot of expressions? So same lang, no? If you have, let's say, equal to 0, let's say E is equal to let's say B2 rather. So let's change that B2 thing. Wait for a while para mag-true siya. Regardless of how many expressions do we have. So let's say we have equals to B2, and then we're gonna be using a logical and then comma, A is A2 less than, let's say, 10, comma, is B2 less than 10. So this will give us true statement. You have three expressions, either asking the user if the A, which is 4, is equal to 4, that's true. Is it less than 10? Is A2 less than 10? That is true. Is B2 less than 10? That is true. You have three expressions there and everything is all true. Therefore, it is going to give you a true statement. So that's for logical and. For logical or, baliktad siya sa and operator because it is only false if everything is false. Okay, so false, and then we have true. So if you have false or true, kaya siya or, di ba? So house or lot. If you have house or lot, I'm gonna marry you. So either you have house or either you have lot. Okay? And if you don't have both, then therefore it's false. So example, we have here equals or. Yeah, so we're gonna be using this false statement here. Copy na to ni na formula right here and then i-change na to siya to or. So from there, using and operator, it's false. But this time, since we are using or, it's now going to be true because either or, either only one, at least one expression is true. Basta there is one expression that is evaluated to true, all the rest, even if it's false, it will automatically be true once or operation is used. Okay? So for not operator, it's only going uh, to what they call this one to negate a certain condition. Example, let's say you have here, siya, sige, simple na lang sa nanak. Sorry. So, so what is it with not? Okay, meaning to say it is going to be negated. I-negate niya ang value. So meaning the value of false. Why is it false? Even if it's true, so if it's not false, it will become true. If it's true, it will become false. So simply i-negate lang niya, no? I-negate lang niya ang value. Do you follow? 'Di ba the result of A6 and B6 are true, tama? Or is A6 versus B6, are they not equal? Is it true or false? True, tama?
True, sir.
Oh, true. But since we use the not operator for logical or logical operator rather, so it's going to negate the value. That instead of it displays the true, no, so it will now be in contrary. It's now going to be change it into false because again, negate lang niya ang value. So once it's not true, it's going to be false. Once it's not false, it's going to be true. So, basta negation, no? I-negate niya ang value. If it's true, ibaliktad niya as false. If it's false, i-ano niya as true. Okay? Then you can also have a combination of something like this one. So, for an instance, wait. So, you have here like we're going to negate the value. So, when you use or before, if you try to look at it, you use or operator, it is believed to be true when you use only or operator for that, di ba? Remember? But since you use a not operator, that is why it's now so like this, no? So or operator with the same formula, it's true. But since we use the not operator, this is what we call nesting. Okay, so this is what we call nesting. Okay, the nesting of logical operators. So you use both not and or operator. You can also use both and operator with not operator, or you can combine not or and. You can actually do that, no? So you can combine and not and or. So that's what we call nesting of logical operators. Now let's talk about the functions. Do you have questions? Hi there. There are questions? Wala.
So far, sir.
So, none so far. Very good. Okay. Sige. So, let's have functions. What do you mean by functions? Saan ang functions? Okay, functions, very good. Thank you for that answer. So functions are in Excel. Normally, we can actually use we can actually create user defined functions. But normally in Excel, there are bunch of built-in functions that are available for us to use. No, so when we talk about functions, these are built-in encoded or written statements which invoke an actions once it is called. So the moment you call it, it's going to perform the actions. It's only going to behave there in the Excel library. The moment you call it, it is going to invoke or perform an actions. Okay, so in fact, each of the logical and like and or and not are actually called functions. But let's have a common functions that are used in Microsoft Excel. So you have the sum function, you have the if function, you have the average functions, the max, the mean, so on and so forth. So let's say for an instance, I'm going to move to the next sheet, and then I want to generate, let's say, another function. So I want to generate a function like run between. So I want to generate a numbers between, uh, let's say, 10 and 100. So the highest could be 100. In between, let's say the numbers that is going to be generated is 10 to 100 or 10 and 100. So in that case, if I'm going to navigate, I mean, if I'm going to do autofill or series, something like that, no, as to up to it depends on how deep it is. So let's say up to 50 or row 50. Yeah, so wait for a while. I'm gonna be also including the first column. Okay, so by the way, every time you do na siya changes di ay ano, so naga-change siya every time mag-formula, invoke na kag-start na kag-formula, so naga-change ang value ana niya. Okay, so because there is run between. Okay, so run between 10 to 100. Okay, so there is this what we call run between. If you start with like 0, ang ginabuhat like 0 and then up to like 9, that's plus 1. So it will generate a number. Uh, okay, the number should be 1 to 10. Not 0 to 9 anymore. It should be 1 to 10. Okay, so yan. So this time, let's have here let's perform a sum function. So let's also generate a random numbers here. Okay, and then let's do autofill. Okay, and then you want to perform the sum function. So wait for a while. Let's insert a row here, and let's say this is the sum function. So all you just need to do is, if you want to get the sum horizontally, you'll just have to use the sum, something like that. So you can write the formula like A2 column, okay, all throughout. If you want to if you want to calculate the sum of this value, no, so you can do that. So pwede na pod A2 to B2, you can actually do that. All right, and then you can also perform sum A2, sorry, A2 going to A50. Okay, you can also perform sum like sum A2 to A10, comma 100, comma 200. You can actually do that. Okay, so meaning the 100 here is a constant value. Okay, so whatever the sum of A2 to A10 will be added by a 100 value. So that's how you automate the summation. And you can autofill that one. So that's for sum. Okay, so you can also you can also find the max value. So let's say for an instance, we want to get the max value. Yeah, another by the way is average. So let's say average. So you have here the AVG. So average. Ayan. So let's say average value. Dati it's an AVG only. This time average na siya. So let's say we want to get the average of this one here. No? So A2 going to A50. So A2 to A50. So again, that's the average. So average is the summation of the numbers divided by the total number of units or the total number of items, right? Or the total number of how much row we do have in our Excel sheets. So that's function. So whenever you call it, it is going to be invoked. I mean, it's going to invoke an action. Okay, so that's for average. So let's have it right here for AVG. Okay, you have here max, you have min. So what else? You have you have my min, max. What else? Mod. Okay, mod, and a lot of functions. So where do you see functions? By the way, asa na to na makita ng mga functions? You can actually look it in the formula. Okay, I mean look for it in the formula rather. So you have here the functions. If you want to know some functions, and there are actually hundreds, or if not hundreds, thousands of functions you can actually use right here. So whether it's statistics, so let's sige, i-view na to tanan functions, more functions. So you can use statistical functions, you have engineering functions. Yan. So honestly, I'm not familiar with all of those. Daghan kay na siya. And then we have your information, you have compatibility functions. So again, there's more once you uh, click on this particular functions there. Okay. I mean, once you click on this particular uh, insert function here. So you will see here a lot of functions. So if you want to have by category, you can have the this is the auto sum function. If you want to see more functions, you just have to wait for a while. So this is the more function. I'm expecting na mag-appear sana siya as a dialog box. So I'm sure in Microsoft Windows, it will prompt, there is this dialog box that will prompt in front of you, and then you can actually show it with this, I mean, ma-categorize nimo into either financial, yan, either in illogical, o yan, no? O, and false if error or not, and then either in a text, so you can make lowercase, uppercase, yan, uppercase, so meaning everything is converted into like, kasi later on it perform na to siya mga sana. So you can see a lot of functions here. Now let's go back here. So you have max. For the max function, same to the sum and average function, you just have to get the range. So yan, no, A1 to A2 to A50. Yan. So, and then you will get the function, I mean the result by, so which one is the highest? Yeah, so we do have 100. So let's say We don't have any like 100. We have 2, 3, 100 by the way. So, yan. I-return niya ang highest value. Okay? Of course, for min, ato alam po siyang i-copy paste and then just change it to min, but careful ta in copy pasting kasi nag-change ang iyahang column. So 8 sorry, 82 dapat. So that's for min, max, average, sum. Okay, what else? Do have another like count, then count if, and then we have if. So we are going to perform this later on. Sa isahon na to ni siya. Okay? So, question so far? Wala. Kuha tanan. Okay, sige. So, let's have count, count if, and if. Okay. So, count, the count, tulod ini siya, sorry. We have count A, count if, and if. So, tulo ka count siya. Na-count A, na-count if, o I guess na po siya count ifs. Okay? Pero this time, I'm only going to discuss to you three counts. You have count. Count stands for, this, by the way, when we talk about count, it's just going to count it's not going to include the null values or empty value. Let's say when you do count A, so count A, it's going to, it's count all, meaning it's count all. Sige, try sa atong ano ha. Let's say, among all this, by the way, kung naatay, mag-error atong ano dra ano, so lang. So A, C, and then you don't have anything there. So, and then we are going to perform count A from there now. So count, let's say from A2 to A, A10. So A2 to A10. A15 na lang. Sige, A15. So let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's actually, we have actually data, 14 rows, but it only returns 10. So how is that? Why is that? So unsa lang iyang giihap dira?
Kanang nine numbers, sir.
Kanang naay numbers. Is it included ba si A and C? Wala.
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Dili.
Dili, sir.
Dili. So sa count A, included na si, okay, for count A, that's the time included na si letter. Pero included ba gyapon ang blank? Dili. So right here you have A15 lang dahil. Ayan. So empty spaces. Sige, ato na sini ibalik sa number para mo na. Wala lagi na count if na ko ni. Count may count A day ka dapat. Okay, and then this one is count and count A. So what happened here? Okay, G. So what we have right here is that unsay ginabuhat sa count A, unsay gina-exclude niya. Unsay gina-exclude sa count A? Is it the blank or the letters? Count A, for count A. Unsay ihapon niya? So you have
Letters.
1, 2, 3. Apilon ba ang letters?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Then, okay, 11 and 12. Walay labot ang spaces.
Space.
Kasi spaces are considered as white spaces. They are not included or considered as values. They are null values. Okay, the same thing with database. Okay, so let's have count if, but this time we'll have if first. Okay, sige. So there is sa ta sa if, we'll have a separate uh, value, separate discussion for this one. Okay, so you have, let's say, age here, or grade na lang, sige, grade. And then we'll have, let's perform run between, and let's say we have 70 or 70, okay, up to 100. So, yan. And then, kuha na to ang run between kay magpuli-puli maguna siya, no? So, let's have paste it here, and then let's choose this one, values only. Ayaw use destination or match destination. Okay, well, we are only going to get values only. So values only, it will not copy the formula. Sorry. It will not copy the formula. Yan. So para dili mag-change ang value. So then replace nato na siya right here with, para dali ang ano. Oops. Okay, for if conditions, so for if conditions, there is a logical statement or logical test. The logical test is going to be using relational operators, and there are actually two consequences, the true and the false. So the first statement after, or the first statement after the logical test, that is the true value, and then the next statement after that is the false value. And make again, we can also, um, nested or nest the if condition. So let's say for an instance we have if this one. So if, okay, if any grade is less than or equal to 74, so if it's true, then punta na to siya as failed. If otherwise it's not less than 274, it's going to be as pass away. A joke lang. Pass dito. Ayan. We have only two consequences there, the failed and the pass. If any grade is less than 74, then it's failed. If any grade is more than 75, including 75, it's going to be pass. So fill in, autofill rather, you have there failed, pass, pass. Now what if, for an instance lang na ay, siyempre na-grade na mo abot og let's say 19. So probably wala siya it's not actually failed. No, there is actually equivalent grade for that in in our grade sheet. So that's what we call drop, no? So either official drop or non-official drop. So that drop thing is you have uh you have entered in the class probably 2 to 3 days. After 3 days, you haven't been found. So parang wala na ka, no? You have not attended anymore. So but you have the records. So since you have the records, it is automatically computed. So once computed siya, it's part of the grading, and then it's going to, if na siya condition na ang grade, any grade that is less than 19, so meaning to say wala na siya nagpadayon, that's an indication na wala ni padayon siya. Okay, so that would mean it is actually a drop. No, so the student has already dropped the subject. So how do we do that? That's the time you will do a nesting. Okay, so nested. So nested means an if within an if statement. So if that's the case, let's copy paste this one, and then let's include, let's say, uh, let's have here less than or equal to 20. Okay, it is drop, right? And you will have another if condition right here. So if A2 is less than or equal to, let's say, 75, so it's going to be failed, and then otherwise it's pass. So right here, you just have to close it with that one. So makita po na nimo ang iyahang color coding sa open and close parenthesis kung asa ang partner. So ayan. So any grade with less than, so let's say we are going to put a value for this one as 50. Ah, mali ang keyboard. Wrong spelling wrong, sir. Ang keyboard na to, mali ang spelling. Okay. Failed na pod. Okay, failed. Where are you failed? Wait. Asa ko na usab? Ayan, tama. Okay, and then failed. Okay, so what if, syempre na yung mga grades na mulapas o like, basin pag-calculate sa grade, dili na to mamalayan na ay mga, let's say na ay negative 50, at least ma-inform, no? So negative 50 is negative 56, it's drop. But supposed to be walay drop na, I mean walay negative 56 na grade. Right? Then ay uban moabot og 150. Just in case lang, no? If in the event na ay may ana. So that's a time na we do another nesting of statements. So another nesting could be done the same thing, but this time it should be something like, we'll have a lot of logical tests here. So to start with, you can actually do something like, if it is less than 0, that is, let's say you will use invalid. Okay, if A2 is going to be less than or equal to 20, that is drop. Okay, if B2 is less than or equal to 75, that's failed, and then another is pass. Yeah, um, if you are going to include more of your, like, if you wanna really do a certain parang logical test na completos ricados ang kumbaga, so including this the ano, so it's pass, and then probably out of range, something like that. Okay? And then what you will need to do is dapat mag-match ang imuhang mga unsa ni, oh, this is what I meant. So dapat mag-match kung pila ang imuhang opening statement. So 1, 2, 3, 4 mao po na imong closing statement, and naka color coding na siya. Okay? So right here, so that's it, no? Nakabutang na siya, drop, pass, drop, out of range. So at least it will be easier for you to look into it kung sa mga values na unsa na error. So another one is, we have also this what we call conditional formatting thing, no? Conditional formatting thing, okay? Thing. So you just have to highlight the values. So example, kani siya. And then you go to conditional formatting. So you have here different formatting or conditional statements. So you can actually create your own rule. So this time we're gonna be using a rules, or a certain rule that is pre-built in. So we have here anything that contains. So let's say anything that contains, let's say trap. So let's mark it with a custom format ato. Let's mark it with sige, underline, and then with a yellow highlight, and then fill it with color. Ayan. And then fill it with the color should be, let's say, orange. Ayan. So anything, any word or any remarks that is trapped is going to be something like that. Okay, so we do another conditional formatting for highlight cell rules that okay contains. So since you have another, so you have pass, anything that contains pass, it's going to highlight, let's say highlight with green. Ayan. And then if anything na ay invalid and out of rules or out of range, so we can actually, so let's say invalid. So let's highlight it with red text. So wala may invalid, no? So ang invalid, or how come wala ta invalid? Wait for a while. Dapat if B2 is hmm, supposed to be dapat invalid si, wait, why is it drop? Drop because wait for a while. A4 kasi ni. Anong na A4 man ni? B4. So dapat this is A, wait. Mali ato ang condition eh. So A dapat. So A2. So this is what I have shown you earlier na dapat natay mga dollar sign with this one, no? Kasi kung tanaw na to, nag-change ang mga values, A2, B2, something like that. So supposed to be dapat A2 ni, and then this is also like A2, and then so there, no? The valid, and then we don't include failed. Did we? Wala pa di ay. So sa failed, conditional formatting highlights cell rules that contains failed. So with the failed, unsa man nato ibutang sa failed, i-highlight nato with red. Yan, specific text. Okay, and then for out of range, it depends to you if you want whatever you would like to do. So you can also do that in the grade. Okay, so if that's the case, you just have to highlight the grade column and then you just go here, either less than, greater than, between. It depends, no? So let's say for an instance, any grade less than, let's say less than or equal to or less than 0. So you are going to highlight it with no, dili i-highlight but red text lang. Okay? So what happened? Because everything is formatted as sorry, um what was that? I-clear sa nato ang formatting ha. Clear rules muna. Clear selected. Okay, let's try one. So let's say mm, less than, okay, less than, let's say less than, okay, mag-set na lang ta diri og values. So we have here, okay, sige. Kasi mag-set pa ta og mga values. So let's say for an instance here, less than or equal to less than 0 rather. Okay, and then it should be red text. Okay, cell value. Yan. No, it's not going to, I mean, it's not changing what happens here. Probably because of, wait for a while. Let's complete the ano na lang muna. So less than, so let's try to change. Let's see, greater than 70, greater than, I see kasi na may greater than din, no? Nagbutang pa kong formula na anad magud kog manual. So wait lang for a while. So I'm so sorry for that. So kasi it's already greater than, okay, naanad kog manual, sorry. So let's say anything that is anything that is less than or equal to, let's say 0. So highlight it with red text. Yan, less than or equal to 0. So ato sa i-clear di ay, sorry. I-clear sa nato na. Mm, So less than or equal to 0. Ayan. Yan. Okay. And then highlight rules less than or equal to or less than, yeah, less than including 20. Less than or equal to 20. And then this time, let's highlight it with dark yellow text something. So, appeal ang 56 kasi 56 is still less than 20. So, baliktad dapat ato ang formula. So, wait for a while. So, probably mag-start ta with the greater than value. No, tama. So, start ta with the greater than value. So, let's say more than 75 or greater than or equal to 75. Highlight it with green. Ayan. And then, if a grade or a value is, let's say, greater than, greater than 50, 20. Okay, greater than or 21 na lang. 21. Red text. So, appeal what happened? Mali atong formula. All right, so I'm having difficulty with this one, but because the formula is it's everything that is greater than 20 is going to be highlighted with the color uh mas okay siguro in between atong gamito, no? So i-highlight na to siya. Sige, i-ano na to in between or between. Sige, 20, between 20 and or 0 and 20 para sure, okay? Red text. Okay. And then pag in between 21 to 74, it's going to be unsa ba to ato ang ano dire? Yellow or sige. Nabatay custom format. Kaya ato na naman tag yellow something. So I just hope mag-yellow siya. Alright, so because sa dito tong giano? Sa less than unsa kay tong rule ganina? For this one, it's going to be less than 21 up to dapat 21 to sa bataman. Okay. So dapat ang failed na to is sorry. So this should be red this should be failed rather. So 274. Okay? Or equal to 74. Yan. So I guess that's it for conditional formatting. So you have there, if you want to use numbers, I mean, you use less than or greater than. For contains or text that contains, you use, I mean, make sure that your data are in string format. Okay, do you have any questions?
Not so far.
Then, do you have any questions? Wala.
Wala siya.
Okay, good. All right, so let's now use your data. Asa naman to yung data? Yeah, another DI is the mod function. So I just forgot, no? Mod function is modulus function. You have there like, sige, mag-ano lang tag numbers tre. So let's say we want to know kung add or even ba ato ang numbers. So pwede nato na siya puhaton dire. So kasi sa modulus is the mod function, it's going to divide the number but it's going to return the remainder. So example, you want to test either the this one, no? So kuha sa nato siya ang value ni the 2. So common sa ilaha is, sorry, ang common ani sa ilaha is any number divided by 2 is actually when the result is or the remainder is 0, it's considered as even. Okay? When any number is divided by 2 and the remainder is 1, it's considered as odd number. So how do we do that na makuha na to even or odd? So this time, mag-nest ka og conditions. So like for an instance, if mod like 2 modulus to 2 equals to 0, then this is even. Otherwise, it's odd number. So you can do that in Excel. So it depends sa imuhang trip, no? Sa imuhang pwede na ma-perform using if conditions. Ayan. So even, 2 is even, 4 is even, add 5, 3, add 10 is even, add. In fact, na may add value or add na function, which is, let's say, i-click na to ni siya. So, add function will give us, let's say, 19. So, may ginabot na yung add function. So, the add function is, wala. Dili siya na function na mo return og add og even. I was expecting if it returns is, ayan, is add ito. Okay? So, nag-change na di ay ilang libro. Okay, so you have is add and then a certain number is like evaluated or compared. So, meaning 2 is not add. So, at least the one that we are doing here is better than this one. Right? So, pero pwede gyapon nimo siya if i-combine like if is add, pwede gyapon nimo siya i-ano. So, again, it depends on your formula. Like if is add, then it is add. Now, if it's add true, if it's not add, then it's even. So add. All right. So that's it. So same. Okay. So either you use mod or the value or the function is add. Napo siya is even, I guess. Yeah. So napo is even. Yan. Okay? So is add, is even, or you can actually use mod, no? So that's it. You can actually use that one. I mean, daghan kay mga formula na pwede niyo magamit. Okay? All you just need to do. So I haven't memorized all of them. Okay? Ang isa lang imong tan-awon dira example, no? Like for an instance, na kay ABC and mag-perform ka og formula for that. So let's say ang upper. So, dapat na ay wala may mo gawas na formula. So, ayan, ABC, mali ko. Wait. I mean, what I'm trying to say is na siya'y dapat mo gawas na ikanib, no? This is what we call what they call that one in programming. It's I forgot. It's under the tip of my tongue, but it's actually called as docs, no? It's actually docs. It's a documentation wherein you don't have to look for the definition of if, you don't have to look for the what exactly is if is, only you just have to do is what is this? I mean, unsa iyahang syntax. No, by the way, when we talk about syntax in if condition is following the rules. It's similar to grammar. If you follow a certain grammar in English, you are grammatically correct. But if you don't follow like subject and verb agreement, you commit grammatical error. Something like you people or sige, like something like the apples is, di ba? So since your subject is verb, since your subject is plural, therefore you will have to use the plural verb. So like people are instead of people is, no? So something like that. And then basta nana, that's the analogy of syntax in in programming. Actually, what we did right now is what we are actually doing right now is actually a programming already. Okay, so this is a little bit of programming in Microsoft Excel. But of course, it's not that we're not that there yet. No, we still have a lot of things to do. We still have a lot of things to understand. So, ayan, um, these are the things. Kasi I guess if I'm not if I'm not mistaken, no, like ang naman ko'y mugawas na docs. I don't know what happens with this one. Wala wa may mugawas. So mugawas dapat na siya na whatever formula imong gamiton. So again, there are a lot of formulas you can use there or here. You can even use the now. So now will give you the date today, you know. So and absolute value, yan for absolute value of a value, ceiling, uh, yeah, and there's actually here, no? Daghan kay mo diri makita nimo ng mga values. Yan, oh. So, pi, uh, rand between, rand array, and a lot of other functions. Okay? So, this time, we are going to use your, asa naman tong Excel sheets na to? Hey, guys, na may questions?
None,
Hello?
sir.
Wala? O sige, nakuha man kanyo tanan.
Reviewon lang naman niya, sir.
Oh, diha magsalig kay reviewhon. Sana all. O sige, reviewhon. Sige, bantay bitaw ha. So reviewhon ninyo and then so
Robot.
if so you have here the like now this is a parang a bunch of records. So of course now ang Excel is used for calculations to I mean to automate a certain calculations for us to quickly determine a certain parang if there is a query. So uh, if you're not familiar with database, of course database scripting, so you can use Excel sheets. But again, Excel sheets are is I mean Excel application is like limited, no? It has to be in terms of its functionality, no, limited siya in a way that you will have to do visual basic application in this application. But it with the kaya lang the problem with kung mag-database scripting ka is you'll have to know both like kabalo ka mag-database design at the same time the for you to access and fetch the data from there no from the database is you'll know a little bit of scripting and then of course a programming no ang programming is any programming language like pwede siya C++, Java, Python, C Sharp, or PHP. Yan, no? So, or Perl. Yan. So, this time, we're going to, is it in the Excel sheet format already? So, I guess it's Excel sheet format already. So, this time, we are going um, to do a certain parang function, I mean the automation in which let's start with here, no? So i-count na to how many, so which is diri na gamit ayo si count if, no? So i-count na to pila ka buok male and pila ka buok female. Okay? Oops. So right here we are now going to proceed on the next sheet na lang. So this is where our data extraction or data extraction na lang daw ni Dre. Sige, data extraction. By the way, you can change the name for this one, no? Pwede po na niyo butangan og mga colors. So, gusto ka igat-igat o pink. Yan, mo pink na siya dra. Gusto ka kanang color kay imong Excel sheet. Okay, labi na sa mga girls, ganahan ka sila mga color na mga Excel sheets. So, you can actually put a color to it. So, by the way, since wala ni like say tawag ani naka-sort, so we can actually sort this one based on the last name. So all you just need to do is highlight all, and then there's actually a sort here. So i-custom sort na to siya. Custom sort if both kung unsa na mga columns imuhang i-ano na sort. Pero this time pwede na to siya i-sort with i-sort na to by column C. Yan. Wait lang for a while. Column C. What happened here? Okay, wait. Column C. Sort na to ha. Why it seems like I cannot sort using column C only. Expand. And then values. Where is it? Custom list. Why I cannot select kasi naka-timestamp di ay ko, sorry. So, last name ta. So, again, balik ta ha. So, ato sang i-undo. Ayan. So, select all or mas okay select nimo tanan para dili tanan basin ay mga other values there no sa oops. Okay. And then, you want to sort the value. I mean, since dili kay kasi kung i-sort lang nato by last name and last name natong gi-select, ang last name lang ang ma-sort. So probably malailahi ang value sa imuhang. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is that we are going to sort the data based on the last name but without compromising the other parang data na mag-interchange or interplace. So right here, so mo nang mag-sort by tab by last name and then A to Z, ayan, and then okay. So let's see and look at it. So na-change na nato si tama ba? Alvarez Agustin, Austria Ryan, tama na siya? Paki-confirm. Hello. Hi
Okay,
guys.
sir.
Tama ba to ako ang unsa ni? Wait. Tama ba ni sila ang apelyido ni Alvarez Agustin iyang pangalan?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Alvar.
Kasi kung gi-sort lang nato ning column C, ang ma-sort lang kato lang first last name. Iya lang kanilang not other else or other data dili ma-sort. So make sure mo sa pag-sort in ana ang pag-sort ninyo. Again, so ayan, few reminder lang to for sorting data. So this time, ato ta sa data extraction and then we are going to do count if. So let's say we want to count how many males or male and how many female. Of course, you don't want to count it manually, no? I-count mo siya hindi isa-isa. A, B, B, I mean M, male, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kaya ra siya kung kanilang ang records na to. But what if you have millions of records and you are tasked to do that, no? Ano nimo pila ka book ang among the millions of records or millions of entries, how many are males, how many are females? Okay, so this time we'll be using count if. Yan. So count if, wait lang ah. Nagpagawas ako sa akong gibati. O sige, balik ta. Okay, so right here, since it is in a separate Excel sheet, okay, you might be having a parang other things like unsay pangalan sa sheet is mao to ang iyang i-appeal niya as formula because kailangan relative siya. So whatever changes imong gibuhat dito sa first sheet is dapat unsa tong imong pangalan sa imong Excel sheet should be followed. So like yan, A1 and then colon going to A17. See, tawa na mali na ta. Balik usab. So, this is A1 to E17. Ayan. So, mm, okay, balik usab. A1, what happened to you, count if? Ayan. Pagani kung nag-close, ingon rin siya og skibi usab. Count if I go to this one here and then um and then this one here colon close parenthesis. So if you try to observe, you have here the what happened? Ayan. And then criteria nato should be like male. Okay, if you don't want to use static value like for male, you can actually use the katong gibuhat ganina na static value. I mean, katong if dili ka gusto mag-change ba like for an instance na sige ano ato na siyang ibutang dire and then you have here another formula and then i-copy sa nato ning formula. Wait for a while. Copy nato ni siya right here and then paste it here and then instead of static value na male dire imong ibutang is like the value of A1. Okay, and then enter. Yeah. So relative versus static. Okay, relative versus static. So relative means unsay changes ani niya like na males nimo na siya, ang affected lang katulang relative value. Okay? So ayan, that is why it depende na sa inyong choice, depende sa inyong unsa inyong pilion na. And then napay isa kadtong if you want na ang value niya is dili mag-change like kadtong kani no. So yeah, something like that with the dollar sign. Okay? So we have based on our counting, you have 25 male for based sa outong data. So if of course you are working on the same sheet, mas okay siya like asa naman tong male female dire. So if you're working on the same sheet like this one here, of course you do count if and then ang ano lang diha is here going to colon here. So inana lang jud siya ang formula niya. Okay? I mean for we'll need a ano di ay criteria. So mao lang jud ang formula. E2 to E41. Only that, I mean the only thing that you see here, I mean ang ano lang dire is that this is the name of the form, the sheet rather. Okay? And then that this one is exclamation point niya. Wait, ipakita. This is the name of the form or the sheet rather, and then this is the cell. Okay, by the way, this is an exclamation point meaning pointing. Okay, pointing to E2 meaning form that responds sa programming pa ni is linking or pointing to A2. Okay, then colon form response pointing to E41, and then the criteria is male. Okay, we can do the same for female and let's see if pila ka buok female among sa ayan, female. All right. So among all, we only have 15 male and then 15 female and 25 male. So as easy as that because of count if. All right. So karon we can sa pwede na to ma-extract din na data like sa age pwede no dirita sa okay kani daw ta pila ka buok ang interested in men, women and other values. Sige. So kana let's say you want to get the values here within, no? So because values can be anything, like dili nimo wala kay specific value, unlike dito ganina naka drop down maguni atong data male and female lang. And then here you might not being able to include others for others, or let's say basinay uban other entry. So we can actually get this value right here, and then ibutang nato na siya dire. Okay, so let's say for an instance atong buhaton here would be you go to data. So this is what we call data analysis. So right here I want to get the data. Okay, and then just click on data validation, and then you go to settings and then list. Okay, this will create a list of data based on the input of the user, or based on the input from the user. So again, settings, list, and then the source would be, okay, ang source nato would be form responses. You just have to go right here, okay, until right here. So ayan. And then, okay. All right. So as you can see here, you have here men and women. So kaya lang, ang value na to is balik-balik ang mga others, men, women, and etc. etc. But at least you are able to, pwede po nimo ni siya i-extract later on na, uh, hmm, excuse me. Sorry. Wait for a while. Where is it here? Or might be I'm using kung saan akong Excel? Kasing karaan eh. So I'll dapat wait ha. Hmm. Anyway, sige. So anyway, we just get the data there. So nanatay men, women in a drop down list, no? So all right. So if ever you click on men, so dapat individualize lang unta ni. I don't know what happened with nano na women siya. Let me do it in a separate ano na lang task. So let's say for an instance, you want to extract COUNTIF, and then COUNTIF from this range. So pila ka book ang interested in men, and pila ka book ang interested in women. Kaya to sang ano. Okay. And then right here, do that. So there are 10 who are interested in men, but wala pa nato na ano kung among all pila ka buok male didto interested in men, pila ka buok women didto interested in men. Okay? So this will change from time to time. Every time mag ano ka. So there are others na 9. I don't know unsa nang others silang gusto, basta that's how you do extraction. So ayan, if you want specific na in ani, like pwede ra nimo i-list down tanan diri men, women, others. Like kabalo ka sa entry, no? If in case lang na naay dili ka ano with entry, dili ka known with the entries, bisan unsa anything ang pwede ibutang nila, you can actually create a drop down or data validation. By the way, in terms of data validation, you can also do a, like for an instance, we have yes, no, something here. And then you want na ang value it should be yes, no lang. So you can also do data extraction there, no? Like for an instance, this can be used for statistics ninyo na mga data pohon. Okay? So you have here data validation, and then if let's say the value is, let's say yeah, sige, kanina lang, whole number. So dapat ang value niya is between Okay, let's say ang value niya is between 0 and nabay maabot og wala man siguro maabot og college na 100 no. So siguro na maabot og 450. Ibutang na nato ay 50. Sige dili na ta ano maabot og 60. So ang age should be naay age limit or age value lang na ang imuhang response is dapat between 0 to 60 lang ang value. So, example, you have here the let's say 50. Ayan. So if ever na mag more than ka with that value, it's going to give an alert. So this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. Okay? So you have a formula, a hidden formula there. So another one is if you want to have a parang specific na prompt, you can actually do that. The same thing here. Sige, atong ilahi ha. Let's say you have here age na lang. So you are going to do a validation, let's say whole number up to 0, dili lang po 0, siguro mga 18 years old na lang. 18 to 60. Pila yung gusto? Hi there. Pila yung gusto, class? Hala ba, hapit naman din time. Pila yung gusto? Ha?
Sinta, sir.
50? 60? 70?
30.
30 lang? Okay, 30. Okay. And
Sinta, sir,
then,
80.
80. Sige, 80. And
Hindi na
then,
business.
ato mo sa input message, dire. Sa input message kay pwede mo magbutang dire og age must be from ito atong value 18 no? 18 to 80 only. O ana. So dire din is na to ang input message. Tapos kani kay age validation. So sample na lang na. And then sa alert, if error, depende sa inyo kung i-stop ba nyo, i-warning or information. So if you want na warning, i-warning siya. If mag-stop siya, dili siya mag-stop ang imuhang pag-encode. Sige, try na to ni siya. Let's say error. And then error message nimo. Okay. Can't you read? Kuya, isugon. Can't you read? I'm sure, oy. Ana, atong example. Okay? And then, okay. Ayan. So, mali akong nabutangan og validation. But then again, example lang, naapil ang age nato. So, i-ana nato na siya. Okay, mag-ano na lang kung isa ka insert. And then this is age. So, nanatay age validation. Age must be from 18 to 80 only. So, dili siya kasabot. Like, yung gibutang is 16. So, pag sure, can't you read? Pag sure, oy. So, yes, no, no. So, na-appeal siya. Kung stop to siya, dili jud ka pwede mag-encode. Kato warning lang to siya. Nakuha? Warning, butang na to 56, 78, tapos 90. Ayan. So, pag no, balik ka 3, 80, ayan. Pag 98, pag yes. So, that's for kung warning. Warning man gud siya imong gibuhat. Pero pag stop ka, stop ato ang buhaton. Let's say, data validation and then input message. Ayan, asa naman to? Between the I. So, we have 18 to 80. And then, sige to kung age must be doesn't matter. Ito, age must be 18 to 80 only. The input message. So, age validation there. Okay, and then, makalimot ko. And then, from alert, stop siya. Error ka. Type og tama na data. Silon ta karon. Joke lang ay. So, Okay. So, mag-enter kag data, let's say 24. So, okay siya. Wa pa din nato na ano no. So, ato asa ni siyang i-autofill. So, encode kag data, let's say 12. Ayan, so retry jud na siya. Dining kailangan ka mag-change og value, dili na siya pwede dili. So example 12 tapos click retry. So dapat pag next nimo nang move, di na ka move, di jud ka ka move dira. No, di ka ka move on. Di ka ka move on kasi again mali imong value. Ang ingon niya age must be only 80. 18 to 80. Ayan. So, pag ka naminaw, dapat 80. So, dapat 69. Ayan. Okay? So, that's how data validation is. Now, there are actually a lot of things that I can share to you, but this time, since we ran out of time, last topic for the last thing that I'm gonna be discussing to you is, okay, this one. By the way, for that count, if you can do so much more here, like you want to count how many if you have different sections, different course code, you can count like daghan pa tatag ano rin no sa itong mga prefer ninyo, most favorite movie, favorite sport, something like that. So in the data extraction, after we get that value, this time ang pinaka-importante dire especially sa inyong mga statistics or sa inyong research na class, no, mga probstat ninyo na course pohon, at least ana mo'y panglaban daan, no, para mas dali inyong pag ano sa data collection at the same time pag-process sa data. So to para maano nato na siya is you can now put a chart here, no, let's say for an instance din lang ta sa recommended chart. So you want to have a bar chart. I mean, is this a bar chart? Yeah, it's a bar chart. And then you want to, okay, kay mao man ni importante makuha sa inyong teacher, di ba? Kanang nanamoy chart sa inyong value or sa inyong kung pila ka book mail. So putani mo 3 uh, gender. Okay? So ayan, magamit na nimo niya. There are, based on my response, I have here, okay, I have here male, 25 male and 15 female. So ana ang iyang ang imuhang, which is mo ni importante sa why we do data collection. Okay? So in here pwede nimo ni siya ma-change into, mao man ang pinaka-importante sa Excel, no? So pwede nimo ma-change into like gusto ka og ang mas nice ang iyang form or iyang format, you can actually use this one right here. Okay, chart. I mean, yan, you can do anything you like in terms of formatting. And another thing is that's only I mean it would be okay if data extraction nimo siya, okay? And then another thing here is sa pa itong isa na akong i-include pivoting sana pero sige na lang it's already time and I have to ano my other class already. I mean to meet my other class. So I just hope you have learned something today. Daghan bag na learn.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so medyo
Yes, sir.
paspas no? Paspas pero sige lang, kaya man kaya ibalik lang ninyo tong video and then